Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Lunch for the Soul. I'm Melissa Wilson, right here in the Fox 26 newsroom in Houston, Texas. So happy to welcome you here today. This is a time where we can just stop, reflect, be thankful for our faith, because that's certainly what our couple, who I'm about to introduce you to, relied on during a really tough medical scare. And I think conversations like these can make such a big difference in all of our lives. If something bad is going awry or something tough is going through your life, sometimes being able to learn how other people got through it can make a really big difference and maybe restore your faith even. So, right now, let's bring in Roy and Sheena James. Welcome to Lunch for the Soul.
Hi, Melissa.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm so happy to see you both again. I got to meet you in Roy's surgeon's office. Aren't you happy to be out of there, Roy?
Yes, ma'am.
Even though he's an amazing doctor with UT Health, it's
Yes,
still
he
nice to
is.
be away from it all, right?
Right.
Well, let's go back and talk about what happened, Roy. I want to start from the very beginning. So, why we're talking about this and how I got to meet you was through UT Health and Herman Memorial City Hospital, where you were the very first person in the country to undergo a unique procedure to treat stroke faster than ever. At least that's what they're trying to prove through the study you did. But let's
Right.
just go back from the very beginning, because you were having some bizarre symptoms that prompted all this to begin with after you had a stroke. So what did that look like for you? Because it is such a common problem. I want to make sure all of our viewers know what that can and feel, what it can look like.
Well, I was getting a little dizzy and out of whack in the kitchen. I got a late night snack. I was trying to. And I mean, I got turned around. I was dizzy and confused. So I came out of the kitchen back to the bedroom and stumbled and tried to get in bed, and I just couldn't get in it. I just sat on the side and fell to the
Mm.
nightstand.
So you actually knocked your nightstand over, right? And I'm
Yes.
sure it was a lot of loud noise going on. Sheena, I know that you ran in there and you
Yeah.
you
Well,
quickly
actually, I
called
was sound
911.
asleep. I was sound asleep, and
You were
thank God
sound
he knocked
asleep.
he knocked the nightstand over, and that's what woke me up. And
Wow.
I thank God for that because I was out, and when I heard that noise, I saw that he had fallen out the bed, and I looked at him and immediately knew something wasn't right.
Mm. What did he look like to you? What made you feel, obviously, if you fall,
Yes.
you feel something's wrong, but somebody could just trip in the dark. What made him look and
No,
feel
his
off to you?
face was drooping, the one side of his face, and he was trying to talk, but I could tell his voice wasn't
Right.
Mhm.
normal. So he was out of it. And so immediately I called out to the Lord, and then I called 911.
Mm. You just gave me the biggest goosebumps. So you did even start talking to God at that point because you were scared for your
Absolutely.
hubby. What does that prayer look like? What did you say?
I just called on the name of Jesus. I did. And then the Lord had me call one of his best friends. After I called 911, I yelled for my niece to come. She had actually come in the night before, and I said, "Please let the paramedics in." And then I got on the phone. The Lord laid on my heart to call his best friend, who's a minister, Warren Francis. I called him, and immediately he went into prayer. We got in the my niece let the paramedics in. They came in, and I asked, could we go with them? And they said no.
That's
But the one thing that I knew that God was in it was the paramedic said, Miss James, we're not going to take him to Katy Hospital. We're taking him right to Memorial. They
right.
knew what was going on,
Hmm.
so they took him straight to Memorial
And you're
Hospital.
having an ischemic stroke, or ischemic stroke. So, what do you remember? I know it's got to be a little difficult to think back because you were in distress, but do you remember what that felt like other than being a little bit confused? Did you have any pain? A lot of times people think of a splitting headache.
No, it felt really dizzy and kind of like a light circling in my head, and
Mhm.
like I was in an ambulance. It was kind of bumpy. I was trying to move, but the one side wouldn't move. I just had feeling on my right side, so I was, kept trying to reach my hand.
Hmm.
I didn't know what was happening. I never had a stroke before, so
Yeah.
and I think they would give me an IV on the way or something.
Hmm. Yes, I talked to your surgeon, and he did say that I mean, they knew it was pretty much a textbook stroke, and so they instantly started you on an IV blood thinner to try to bust up that blood
Okay.
clot in your brain, but they weren't able to do that, which is why you went into that surgery to remove it to make sure you didn't have permanent brain damage. Let's talk about what that looks like to be the spouse of somebody going through this. So now you're separated. He was in such, I'm sure at that point, considered critical condition because they're trying to save his life, which is why they were probably working fast and furiously in the ambulance and couldn't allow you to go. But what does that look like for you? Are you packing a bag? Are you just jumping in the car and racing to the hospital? What were you doing, Sheena?
Just jumped in the car with my niece,
And follow
and we followed the ambulance, and we're just praying out loud the whole way there. We're just calling on God and trusting Him. And when we got into the emergency room, they were getting him, I believe,
prepared.
ready for surgery.
But I had to sign.
Before there were forms that had to be signed, and the doctor had mentioned that there was a new procedure or tube that they were going to use that they had never used before.
And I'm vaguely hearing all this
Yeah.
at that time.
Mhm.
Are you all? They were saying, "Are you all right with that? Do you agree?" And she asked me. I said, "I agree with anything that it's going to help."
Yeah, and at that point, Sheena, you just had to make the decision. Did they explain at that time? I'm sure that you were. It's hard to probably even remember because your family's in distress. But did they talk to you about him being the very first person to undergo this procedure?
They did. The doctor did mention that
Yeah.
this was the procedure was the same, but the tubing
Yes.
was different.
It's just the tubing. And I think, did
Tubing.
that make you feel better knowing it was the same thing would be going on? He had the same experience. It's just a matter of using a little bit different equipment.
Yeah. So
Yeah. So you felt comfortable with that.
It was just, I felt led to sign it and say yes.
Yeah.
And I actually laid hands on him while he was there in the emergency room and prayed out loud. I prayed out loud. I didn't care who heard me. I didn't care. But when they took him up, I have to tell you this part. When they took him up for the procedure, I'm waiting in the waiting room, and I'm there by myself, and I'm on my knees praying. This nurse came up that was in the emergency room. I'll never forget it. Her name was Gabriella, and she said, "Miss James, I heard you praying for your husband." I was there. She said, "Do you mind if I pray for you?" Please do. I'll never forget her.
How powerful
Gabriella,
is that?
I knew God had it then.
God is good.
That is so beautiful. I'm so thankful you shared that because anytime medical workers who might be watching this realize what a difference that can make when you are so scared, and just to take that time to be with you, who not even the patient, is so beautiful. Roy, you just have such a zest for life. I wanted to show a few photos here. It looks like maybe somebody was on a cruise. Is this true?
That's my first one.
How fun. And then look at you here. What's going on in this one?
We was at a basketball game, I think.
Yeah.
That sounds like
Yeah,
fun.
it was a basketball game.
And it looks like you guys travel and you have so much fun. Now, I see you're riding a bike here. Is this afterwards because you got more active?
Yeah, that's it.
It's the great.
Yeah, I made it a point to start doing more. That's my grandbaby there.
Yeah,
Riding bikes. Yeah.
I love it. Good for
I
you. So,
lost weight and everything. That's my sister from McKeesport, Pennsylvania.
uh-huh. And so you decided that you were going to make sure this never happened again, right? And there
Right,
are
right.
sometimes there's really nothing you can do about it, doctors say, but some lifestyle changes can certainly help. So what has made you change? What have you done to try to live a little bit differently?
I
You said
made a
exercise.
commitment to lose weight. My diet's changed. You know, my meds. Well, I'm on a lot of meds. About 9 pills a day.
Mhm.
Some in the morning, some in the evening.
That they're gonna take care of.
So a lot of praying.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure. Well, and I think it's incredible that you had faith that this procedure would work out because, I mean, the doctors are telling me that within a day, your strength was back, which sometimes it takes a year to get your strength back after a stroke. Within a couple of days, your doctor shared the video with me of you walking around the hospital,
Yes,
and you were
2 days.
home on day 3. I mean, that's incredible for a
Yes.
stroke victim. How blessed do you feel, Roy, that you had this team
They
with you
just
to
kicked me
help
out of them, Miss
Roy
Listen. They
Herman?
say, go home.
That's a good problem to have, right? To
That
get
was a
kicked from
good
the
problem.
hospital. A
Yeah.
really good
She
problem.
wanted me to stay. I was ready to go.
Oh, I bet. Go home and get some of Sheena's home cooking, I bet,
Right.
right?
He's the chef.
I'm a cook. She,
Oh, you're the cook.
He's the chef.
Now, see what I just did there? I put my own life onto you guys. I would do anything on earth for you to do a little lesson with my darling husband, Roy. What do you think? Can we work on this?
yeah. Yes, we can.
I think we could probably start with teaching him how to boil water and maybe do some
Oh,
toast. We'll start light.
Easy. That'd be easy to do.
Oh, I love that. So you were ready to get home and cook yourself.
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
I love that so much. So let's talk about, I guess almost your second chance at life. A lot of people lose their lives from
Right.
strokes. Besides trying to lead a healthier lifestyle, do you stop and smell the roses a little more? Are you more
Oh,
appreciative
yeah.
of
Oh,
life? What's that
yes. Yes.
like?
And then I'm a little up in age now, so all time is value. You know?
Yeah. So you take that real seriously
Yeah.
and consider it very valuable. And then do you work? Are you retired? Where are you in life?
No, I'm retired.
You're retired. So how do you keep busy? What do you do to keep your mind, body, soul, spirit fulfilled?
Again, I do some exercising,
Yeah.
exercise in the morning and cook in the evening. Do a lot of yard work. You know, I stay busy. You know,
Travel.
Busy
travel.
man.
We travel. You know, try to
Yeah.
get out as much.
How long have you guys been married?
Oh my goodness, 47 years.
47. He answered that pretty quick, Sheena.
45, she said. I'm
We've
trying-
known each other for 47
I'm
years.
trying to give her some more time with me.
Now, Roy, don't make me get you in trouble, buddy. I should have given you some free questions. Oh no, Sheena, he was picturing every moment he had with you, so you consider that to be a romantic answer, okay?
Right.
So I'm just wondering, at all those decades together, is this the biggest scare you've had medical wise, or have you ever gone through anything like this before?
Yeah.
This
Oh,
is the
yes.
biggest.
Yes.
This was the biggie.
Yes.
How important, Roy, was it to have your loving spouse by your side to help you through this?
She's been my rock. She's been my rock. She's been there for me.
hmm Because I mean, we talked about how quickly they were able to do this procedure, and everything went absolutely as well as to be expected. But you still weren't 100% at that time, so you still had to undergo some therapy to get back to where you are today.
I did therapy while I was there, and then I had outpatient therapy,
hmm
maybe for 2 months, 2.5 months. Yeah, up here in Katy, where I live at.
My favorite answer that I've heard from anybody I've interviewed in a long time is when do you remember what you said to me? I asked you, so are you 100% Roy, when I met you at the hospital? Do you remember what you told me?
I said, it's not, I'm almost 99% if I'm not 100.
I love that. I mean, you just picture how far you've come, and you're
Yeah.
doing so well. It's incredible. Okay, so I'm just wondering about your side, Sheena. So you see your husband making these lifestyle changes. It seems like when you're living together, everybody almost sort of tends to be on the same track. Have you done anything with him at the same time to make sure you don't undergo a major medical crisis like that, or what's
So,
going on in your life?
Absolutely. We've both
Yeah.
committed to eating better, healthier,
Mm-hmm.
more fruits and vegetables. We walk every day. So
Yeah.
yes,
So you're in it together.
we are.
That makes it easier, I think, right? I mean, just to have somebody by your side to be able to pull that off.
The support is very important.
Yeah. Now, how many grandkids do you have? I saw the picture of the granddaughter riding a bike with you.
6.
6 grandkids. Did
Yeah.
you get to see them on a regular basis?
Yeah, I got some in Washington, D.C., and I got some here in Houston.
And isn't that the spice of life, just being with family? There are so many medical studies that show that being highly connected with your family, it equals longevity and health. I mean, it really makes a dig. Do you feel like it adds to your quality of life to be connected like that?
Yes.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
We spend a lot of time with family. We invite them over
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
on a lot of occasions. We host.
Of course, I do the cooking.
Yeah. 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 Do you help at all, Sheena, or do you just let him take it away?
I bake. I do the
Yeah.
baking.
Oh, nice. Okay. Okay.
They always ask, who's cooking?
I
So
love it.
they want to know who's cooking before they come over for dinner. They love his cooking.
Oh, I bet. I want to try it sometimes. What's your specialty?
I cook anything, barbecue, lasagna, you name it.
Lots of
Oxtail,
vegetables.
greens. Uh,
He actually just made me some vegetable lasagna last week.
Oh, yeah.
It was incredible.
Hey, living up to that healthier lifestyle for sure. It sounds
right,
like.
right. Yeah.
Well, it was such an honor to be able to meet the staff at Herman Memorial City Hospital where you were treated with the UT Health doctor. What would you say to him who went out on a limb himself to make you be the first? He's now operated on 7 patients. It went great with every one of them, but what would you have to say to him if he was watching
Thank you
now?
very much. I appreciate it. It was such a surprise and a gift from the Lord to be the first and be successful.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean,
We love him. He's a part of our family now.
Mm-hmm.
Rather
I
he
mean,
knows it or not.
I mean, it'll really be something if this ends up being how they change things in the future. And what he was telling me is that with this procedure, again, it's the same procedure, it's just a little bit different equipment, is always that the hope is going to be that they can make this faster. They can get that blood clot out faster to make sure there's no brain damage. But I think he said they have to get up to close to 200 patients. So it could still be about a year away before they're able to complete the clinical trial and then look at it and make sure it's safer and better. But how neat is that if that ends up being the way they change
that'd
things?
be
And
great.
you're the first. It all happened because of you.
Especially if it works like it did on me, Melissa.
Yeah.
I mean, it was remarkable to be up and no ill effects.
Yeah, there's a lot to be said for that. For somebody who's never had a medical crisis, and someday will, what would be both of you? I'd like to hear from both of you about your suggestion of how to keep that faith, of how to do whatever you can to know that his will is the way, and that you have to accept that no matter what. But just to keep that faith during a scary time, what would you both suggest to anybody who will go through that sometime in the future?
Just believe in the Lord, keep praying, and try to do the right things every day.
Sheena, you're on the hot spot.
I just think of a song that I love by Mark Gutierrez.
Oh, yeah?
I sought the Lord, and he heard and he answered. That's why I trust him.
How big of a blessing does that feel like that you instantly reached out the second this crisis started, and for whatever reason, not all prayers are answered. We don't know why. I feel like someday we'll understand why, but your prayer was answered, Sheena. How amazing does that feel?
It is incredible. We trust him in spite of.
Mm-hmm.
So.
A lot of times people will tell me that they had some weird symptoms along the way before a big crisis, whether it was a heart attack, whether it was a stroke. Roy, did you have any indicators, any feelings at all that something was going on with your health?
No, not necessarily. Maybe just being tired, but like nothing just hit me until that Sunday. Didn't really get, really came to. So
And then I would just be interested to see if, when we think about somebody going through something like this, the biggest warning signs for you, it was very obvious with this, right? I mean, Sheena, there's no way you wouldn't have called 911 because so many times we hear that people wait too long to get medical help with a stroke. Yeah. Would you have even considered, or there was no way you were getting help right then and there and you never questioned whether you should wait?
I never questioned it. When I saw his face drooping and him trying to speak and it wasn't sounding like him, I knew immediately it was time to call 911.
Your doctor told me, Roy's doctor told me, Sheena, that there were so many times when a spouse doesn't see those signs and they just don't get how serious it is. Had you had any information before or ever known anybody going through a stroke before? How did you know that was so serious? Because your surgeon told me that a lot of times people just don't get it.
I think it was just different programs that I've watched in the past. knowing the signs of the stroke, and it was just knowing that their face would droop or something like that. But I hadn't experienced anyone having one.
Well, thank goodness, whatever it was that gave you that information, that you had it, because you were right there by your honey's side, and you had him for sure. Roy, do you have any, as we wrap up today, any thoughts about your precious wife and how she helped save your life as well? She was a big
Yeah,
part of the puzzle.
right, right. I thank Lord for her every day.
And your 47 years of marriage.
And my
It's been the glorious
longer than that.
47 years of married
Thank
bliss.
God for you too, hon.
Oh, I love that. And any last thoughts of you, Sheena, for Roy, and how much he means to you?
I love this man, and I'm thankful that God brought him through.
How do you stay together 40 years so happy?
Humor.
See,
There you go.
God truly blessed her with me. So I mean, what can you say?
Humor is the key to life. It makes that, it is always the,
Laughter, right?
laughter's the best medicine, isn't it? It's a lot better than anything else. Oh, I love that. Well, you guys have a beautiful day. Thank you for sharing your
Thank you,
Thank
testimony,
you,
Melissa.
Melissa.
your
You have a
story.
great day, great week. Be careful and be safe.
Oh, certainly. And again, thank you for sharing your story, Roy. I was so happy to be able to meet up with you the
Yes.
first time and this time. So thank you for being here.
Okay.
Thank you. God bless.
Have a
Now,
great day.
you do the same. And I just want to remind you all, if you want to join me for Lunch for the Soul, it's so easy to do. I would love to be able to share your testimony. So it's the easiest way probably to reach out to me is just through email. It's melissa.wilson@fox.com, and just shoot me an email. Let me know your story, and I would love to share it. Now, you can catch all of my Lunch for the Soul episodes on our free Fox local app. Did you know that it's so easy? So you don't have to just watch it on your cell phone or on your computer. You can actually go to your big screen TV. So for all smart TVs, get the Fox local app, and that's where you'll find all of our original programming. It's so easy to do. Just look up Fox Local. And then what's really neat about it, you can look at Fox stations all over the country. So maybe you're going to California, you can watch Fox LA. Maybe you're going to New York, watch Fox New York, or there's people to the north of us in Dallas. You can watch them too. So that would be my recommendation. I hope you'll join me every Wednesday. This is a place to be for Lunch for the Soul, where you can just take a deep breath, unwind, and hopefully be inspired. Have a beautiful day, everybody.